Hey everyone, Steve Ferguson here, your modern mortgage loan advisor. Continuing in the Mortgage 101 series, now you have a conditional approval or approval on your mortgage. Congratulations, that's great news for you. So what that means is you've already been through underwriting and they've reviewed your file and they've given you the conditional approval. Now, before we move forward, do me a favor, like or subscribe to this channel. Drop your comments below. Share this with your friends and family. That's what this is all about. It's about keeping you guys educated and letting you know what happens in the mortgage process, because there's a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces that happen at the same time, and it's always good to know exactly what's going on. So let's continue. You get an approval. There's two types of approvals. There's a conditional approval and there's a final approval. Let's talk about the conditional approval first. So the conditional approval is the first approval you generally get from underwriting, and that means your file is conditionally approved subject to these items, and those items can be anything. So let's argue for a second that you're doing traditional financing. That's either FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, etc. And we submit the file to underwriting and they come out with a conditional list of, hey, we need the appraiser to change something on the appraisal. We need the survey corrected. We need the homeowner's insurance to be finalized. You know, those kinds of things are considered conditional items that are necessary to be received and reviewed in order to get the final approval. Now, a conditional approval can be a myriad of things like I referenced a minute ago, and it can be as simple as something that a third party needs to fix, like a title company putting in the correct mortgagee clause, or it could be as complicated as, hey, your income doesn't work, and we need to figure out an alternative solution for that. It's very important from an approval standpoint that you provide all the documents that you possibly can up front. You explain your specific situation to your loan officer, and that way we, on your behalf, can create a nice, pretty picture that the underwriter can receive. It's going to make it very clear. So imagine if you had a puzzle. I don't know if anybody that loves puzzles out there, but if you had a puzzle, you dumped it on the table and you had no picture to put it together. It's very hard to assemble that puzzle. Our job as loan officers is to put that picture in place and already pre-line up those puzzle pieces, so when the underwriter picks it up, they can easily assemble the puzzle, get a clear picture, and get your file across the finish line to get you closed as soon as possible. So that initial approval, our goal is to make that puzzle very clear. When they condition for things, what that means is they're missing a couple of small little pieces of the puzzle, most likely. Our job is to put those little pieces in place so that way we complete the puzzle. Once the conditional approval and all the conditions are brought in, that file is resubmitted by our team for what we call our final approval. And we call it a submission for clear to close. So we submit that file saying, hey, we have the list of conditions that you've requested, Mr. or Miss Underwriter. Here's what they are. Here's the reason we're providing them. Here's how this completes what you have requested us to do. At that point in time, the underwriter will make sure that everything in the file is correct. It does meet those guidelines, and assuming it does, then they will issue what's called a clear to close. And we're going to get into that a little bit in another video later down the road. Now, it's important to understand that this approval process, the conditional side and the clear to close side, is one of your longest processes in the mortgage transaction period. Because in the very beginning approval process, we have to have documentation, and we have to gather those documents not only from you as the borrower, but from independent third parties like title, appraisals, surveyors, etc. And sometimes that can drag on for a little while. So once we get past these approval processes, it goes very quickly again. So keep in mind, this is the longest part of the entire mortgage process. Plan on that, plan accordingly, ask questions, and make sure you provide everything up front. Don't hold anything back. We go through a quality control process. I promise you it's going to come out in the end. It's better to be up front. It'll save you a ton of time and energy. And that gives us the ability to handle those things before it gets to the 11th and a half hour of your closing. And then we find out. Okay. Now, a couple things for you. Once again, ask questions. Once again, make a list of questions that you want to get answered, and make sure that you explain each piece that you provide. Those are the key factors for doing well in the approval process. Hope this was helpful. Hope you guys have a great day, and drop some comments. Share this to your friends and family. All right. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.